All right, so the question for you today, we're finishing up Mel Robbins' book, Let Them. How many of you have been enjoying this book as we've been going through it? How many of you can see ways that maybe you could let other people be more of themselves and you could put the focus of your life back on you because maybe you've been a little too focused on others? Anybody? Great. So, and next week we begin our 40 days of gratitude. So the next six weeks, we go into hardcore gratitude that leads up to Thanksgiving. So here's the question for today. The question for today, is life fair? And we're going to take a little poll. Okay? How many of you think life is fair? 5. Maybe 3 in the back, maybe 10, right? How many of you think life isn't fair? That seems to be a much bigger swatch. How many of you believe life should be fair? How many of you are mad at God that life isn't fair? We got a couple, right? And so that's where I want to go today. Because I believe that we have this longing, this desire that life be fair. And that sometimes it's not. And we get so disillusioned, we get so disappointed, we get so frustrated when life doesn't seem fair that sometimes we get so mad at God. Like, why is this happening? I'm a good person. You know, my grandparents, when I was growing up, my brother and I, they would make sure that our Christmas gifts were exactly to the penny equal. Not only in the dollars spent, but in the number of packages. And then when my sister came along, they said it was even. I don't think it was. But that's just from my humble opinion. I think for my brother and I, it was fair. For my sister, it was like all bets are off, right? Rabbi Kirshner wrote this book almost 20 years ago that said, "Why Bad Things Happen to Good People." You know, and there's a part of us that feels so angry and disappointed and frustrated when life looks unfair. Because we're checking. We're checking to see who got what, who didn't get it. Why is it that some people are better looking than us, which it just isn't right? You know, why are people smarter or have easier lives than it looks like we're having? And we want to check to make sure everything is fair. And life isn't fair. And I want you to take a deep breath and really hear that. That life isn't fair, but it's infinite. And that distinction is really, really important. Because sometimes we want things to be fair. And sometimes they're just not. And some of my favorite memories were experiences that weren't fair. I remember a time when Jill and I think took our first trip together. We were coming back from Yellowstone, and I was leading a men's retreat down in San Diego, so it just happened that the middle spot between Yellowstone and San Diego happened to be Las Vegas. It just happened that way, right? So as we're driving, you know, we get a room booked, and and we get there, and we just, you know, we've been in Yellowstone in this tiny, like, cabin that you had to step outside to turn around, right? It was so small, right? It was so small. And so we're driving, it was a long drive, and it was a hot cross through the desert. And we get to Las Vegas, and we get to the hotel, the front desk, and they say, "Mr. Rogers, that category room is sold out for tonight." And I said, "Really?" And they said, "But we have another room for you." And I said, "Do you think I'll like it?" She said, "Mr. Rogers, I think you'll be very satisfied." She said, what you're going to do is you're going to go around behind the checkout desk. There's a private elevator there. You're going to go up to the third floor. The concierge will greet you when you open the gate, open the elevator. They will escort you to your room, and then they'll get you all set up. So we go in. Now, did I mention that we were camping for a week in Yellowstone? Like, we put the last pair of clean clothes we had in a bag with our toiletries, and we took it in there. And after the concierge, we walked into this room, and it was just like the things you see on TV. It was ginormous. Then there was a knock on the door, and it was our butler. We had a butler. And he said, do you need help unpacking? Is there any toiletries or anything you need? Is there any reservations I can make you? Is there any shows you want to go to tonight? And we're like, no, thank you. Like, what we wanted was just to go to the pool. And he said, well, this has a private pool. On this floor, there's a private pool and a private dining room for breakfast in the morning. And I said, so, and you know, because most of Las Vegas, not that I know, but sometimes I've been there before, that most of Las Vegas, about 6 o'clock, they close down and close the pools down so that everybody has to go to the casino, right? They don't want people hanging out in the pool because that's cheap. You got to go to the casinos. And they said, no, the pool is open 24 hours at this level. Right? And I thought, wow. Now, did any once in that whole experience, I once say to myself, well, this isn't fair. Not everybody got this level of service for their $125 room fee tonight. Right? Did I once think that thought? No. Because when you're being blessed, you receive the blessing. And I want you to hear me say today that life isn't fair, but it's infinite. And sometimes we get so upset about the unfairness. We do. And we have a right to be upset about the unfairness. But the focus needs to be that God is still infinite. Infinite. So even when it looks, or even when we're in an experience that feels and we can acknowledge looks terribly unfair, is God still infinite? Are the possibilities of life still greater than that? Yes. So let's go and let's experience walking into a world that's completely fair. Let me take you to a restaurant when life is completely fair. The first thing that you notice is that everyone, when you arrive at the restaurant, looks just like you. Because it wouldn't be fair to be in anywhere differentiating from anyone else. So everyone looks exactly like you look. Everyone has your personality, your intellect. There is no gender. Everyone is wearing the exact same clothes. There is no differentiation. Everyone is just as smart as you are, just as athletic, just the same personality. And then the next thing you notice, that this restaurant and every restaurant, you don't need to spend a lot of time ordering. Because there's only one thing they offer. And that's the way they keep everything fair. And the money is taken directly out of your account, and everyone gets the same amount of money each day or each week. And after the meal is over, you go back to your car that is exactly like, of course, everyone else's car. And you go to your job that's exactly like everybody else's job. And then at the end of your day, you go to your home that's exactly like everyone else's home. And there's no art, no music, no poetry, because that wouldn't be fair. There's no dating or mating, because that in and of itself could create a problem, because that wouldn't be fair. But in the real world, in the world we live in, it's an explosion of choices. That everywhere we look, there's a choice. There's millions of different choices, and some of them work and some of them don't. And everybody has free will. And it's uneven, it's messy, it's chaotic. And sometimes we make good choices. And sometimes we make really bad choices. And you don't have to raise your hand, we know who you are. Right? But in this messy, real world that we live in, the focus is not fairness, it's growth and choice and transformation. Mel Robbins, page 131. The truth is, life isn't fair. But at some point, you've got to wake up and accept the fact and stop obsessing over that other people have what that looks like, and it's easier for them to achieve. So let's talk about something every single person has on this planet struggle with: allowing other people's success to paralyze them. The reality is you can't control another person's success, luck, or timing in life. The only thing that you can control is what you do. Other people may set the example, but you get to take action. When you see other people's lives as evidence that you're a failure, or you're unattractive, or you're not good enough, you become the biggest obstacle. Mindlessly scrolling over social media or feeling inferior to someone else who's making it looks like they made it rich, or hope that they have an easier life, perpetually blinds us to opportunities. You are torturing yourself for no reason. You're letting other people paralyze you, which leads to procrastination and self-criticism. See, what I want us to see today, and this is really, really important, is that when we can accept that at the human level, life is unfair. It is. Some people have an easier go. Some people are blessed. That's why some people want to believe in karma, because karma explains, well, this person is being blessed in this life because they were a rat last time. Right? And we want to try to make sense out of it. And some of us want to believe in hell so that all the bad people get punished, and we can go to sleep at night thinking it's okay that they're terrible people because they're going to get theirs in the end. But what I want you to see is that there's a bigger spiritual idea. And when we can lay hold of this bigger spiritual idea that life isn't fair, but it's infinite, we move the focus off of other people and we put the focus back on our own life, and we let them live their life, and we begin to live our life to making sure that we're creating the life that we want for us. See, sometimes we get so upset or discouraged or frustrated that other people have it easier than we do, or they have it better than we do, or they got more breaks than we did. Oh, well, you have a God. You have a God that loves you. You have a God that's infinite. You have a God that will work with you to create whatever life you choose to create. Is life unfair? Yes. Can anyone keep you from the blessings of God? No. There is no situation, no person, no moment that can keep you from being wildly and totally blessed, but you. The more you focus on what you don't have or what others do have, the more you focus on how you've been taken advantage of or robbed or cheated or disappointed by life, the more energy you focus on how life isn't fair, the more energy you're not placing in what you want to create with your life. See, this is really the fundamental question. Some of us are working so hard and are so upset that everything's not fair, that we're not literally creating the life that we want because we're checking to make sure everybody gets everything just right. I mean, my grandparents, they would spend so much energy making sure that every little penny matched. And I knew I was their favorite. No matter what they bought my sister, I knew I was their favorite. And what I want you to see today is how many times in your life are you stuck in looking at the people around you instead of living your own life? See, there's three things I want you to be aware of as we move into this season, as we finish this book. The first one is that we have free will. That is the greatest gift from God that we could ever have. We have free will. And free will means that you have the power to choose for your life. You have the power to decide what you want, where you want to go, what you want to create. You have 100% free will. And the second is that you have free choice. That you can make whatever choice you want to make based on what seems appropriate and the best for your life. So you have free will and free choice. And the third is that no matter what's going on in your life, God is greater than that. And the nature of God is infinite. Is infinite. Has everybody had at least one experience in your life that looked unfair? Right? Everybody's had that, right? And the question is not that it's going to happen. It's going to continue to happen. The question is, how long does it take you to move your focus off of that situation and back onto God? Because sometimes we get lost in what we perceive as the unfairness of life. No one and nothing can keep me from the goodness of God. Together? No one and nothing can keep me from the goodness of God. One more time. No one and nothing can keep me from the goodness of God. One more time. Let's go big. No one and nothing can keep me from the goodness of God. I want to close with Mel's quote. Here we go. She says there's three things. There's the problem, the truth, and the solution. Now, isn't that great when life can be boiled down to three things? The problem, the truth, and the solution. So what's the problem? When you focus on how unfair life seems and compare yourself to others, you waste precious time and energy on the things beyond your control. Let others' success not paralyze you, leaving you stuck and feeling you behind and frustrated. This mindset fuels procrastination and perfectionism and preventing you from taking action to create your own success. Is that true? The truth. There will always be someone who is luckier, who has what you want, is further along, or achieves success more quickly than you. Comparing yourself to others is a natural instinct, but when it consumes your thoughts, it undermines your confidence and motivation. You can't control the success of others, but you can control how you respond. Is that true? The solution. Using the let them theory, stop torturing yourself and use comparisons to your advantage. Let others who have success and leverage it to fuel your own journey. Other people's success is evidence that you can do it too. By turning inspiration into action, you begin to build an extraordinary life, the life that you desire. Together, let them. Let them. Let them inspire you. Let them teach you. Let them motivate you. Let them show you a greater life. Because every time somebody reaches a higher level of good, Jesus said, if I be lifted up, I draw all people unto me. That any time any one of us is blessed, even blessed in an extraordinary way, anytime any one of us is blessed, let that be an inspiration for all of us to achieve a higher level of good. God is not limited. God doesn't just dole out some things to one and miss the others. We have an infinite God and we live in an infinite universe. And when we put the focus of our attention on what we want to create for our life, for our family, for our community, for our world, we are far better off. I am wildly blessed. Will you say that with me? I am wildly blessed. One more time, like we mean it. I am wildly blessed. Let's pray. And I invite you to open your mind, your heart, your soul to the activity of God. And I want you to just acknowledge all the times when you've been stuck in unfairness. When you've been paying attention to who got what and was it right, was it fair, was it equal, who took advantage of you, who stole, who took what should have been yours, the promotion, the person, the house, the relationship. And today we just let it all go. And when the activity of God whispers in your ear, what do you want? I want you to clearly say, God, I want a greater life. I want more love and joy and peace than I've ever known before. So in the name and through the power of the living Christ, we rejoice and we give thanks that our God is infinite and that there are infinite possibilities for each and every one of us. And so it is. Amen. God bless you all. Have a great week. Thanks for being here.